स्टूडेंट्स वी आर डिस्कसिंग जीके विच इज पार्ट ऑफ कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम। हम जीके कर रहे हैं किसी भी कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम के लिए और उसमें टॉपिक है पर्सनैलिटीज। एंड व्हाट वी हैव डन, अभी तक क्या किया हमने पार्ट 2 जीके पे है जिसमें डिफेंस वी हैव डन, लीग ऑफ नेशंस एंड यूएन डन, स्पेस, एंड वी आर ऑन द टॉपिक famous personalities, and famous personalities is a long topic. So we are on the third part of famous personalities. Those personalities are historical personalities, contemporary personalities, national personalities, as well as international personalities. And this topic will cover not only the GK, miscellaneous GK, but some kind of history also, books authors also, places also, and so on. So let us now move to personalities part 3. So let us start. So first is नील आर्मस्ट्रॉन्ग। हम उतना ही कर रहे हैं जितना एग्जाम में आता है। यूएस, he was a astronaut, aerospace engineer. NASA is a space agency of US, like हमारा इसरो है, इंडियन स्पेस रिसर्च ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। यूएसए का क्या है? नेशनल एरोनॉटिक एंड स्पेस एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन। नेक्स्ट mission is Apollo 11, through which Neil Armstrong went and landed on the moon. Name of the mission. Became the first human being to walk on moon on 21st July 1969. That was a great achievement of mankind, reaching moon and walking on moon. Famous quote that one small step of a man on moon, like I'm putting step, one small step on the moon is one giant leap for mankind. His team member Aldrin was the second person to walk on moon. कई बार याद रहता कि पहला कौन है? नहीं, but second कौन है? Buzz Aldrin, second man to walk on moon. And the man who was not supposed to walk on the moon, but he controlled the Apollo 11 and kept on the rotation, sitting in the Apollo 11 satellite. So his name was Michael Collins, who was the command module pilot who remained in lunar orbit. So that was a contribution of Neil Armstrong. So after achieving this much feat, the US started building up space shuttles, and USSR, now called as Russia, started building up space stations. But in the last 5 to 10 years, the space has become a commercial place and has been open to the private companies in the last 2 decades. Like you know that Musk Space X-Ray program, and so many startups are coming up in US, Europe, India, even in China, Russia, where they are opening up the space exploration and its use to the private sector. So these were the achievements of Neil Armstrong. So we now will move to the next. So it's याद की रखना है when he landed, name of the satellite or the rocket, not satellite, rocket. And the man who went along with him at second man to walk on moon, and the man who was not supposed to land on the moon, but he kept on moving around the moon so that the astronauts can, or the space people or engineers can come back and to Earth. So next is Clement Attlee, very important for GK. He was a statesman and politician. He became the leader of Labour Party and PM of UK. (1945 to 51). He was the Prime Minister of UK. And he was from which party? Labour Party. Question: who gave or who granted independence to India? Who was the PM of the? Clement Attlee was the PM. In 1947. If he was from which party? Labour Party. ये क्वेश्चन याद रखने पेपर में. He led UK or Britain for the reconstruction after the war and set up a national health service. He granted independence to India and Pakistan by passing the Indian Independence Act of 1947. He nationalized key industries such as coal, railway, steel, and Bank of England. He nationalized means government ने take off कर लिया किन्हों नु coal नु railway, steel, Bank of England, and so on. And his famous quote is democracy means government by discussion, not by force. Democracy means government by discussion, not by force. Known as PM who granted independence to India. So that is a contribution of this PM known as Clement Attlee of UK, who was PM from 45 to 51, and he granted independence to India. And he was PM of UK after World War II. Sir Winston Churchill, again a very important, controversial, and so on. He was a politician. He was the PM of UK. This much period, that means during war, who was the PM of UK? Sir Winston Churchill. But after the war, when elections were held, he lost to Labour Party. We did discuss only. That means the Clement Attlee became the PM. Why he lost? Because people said, you are a good PM, you are a good leader for war, but not for peacetime. He led British during World War II successfully. And his famous quote is, never, never, never give in. कदी भी नहीं किसी चीज़ दे विच अगर तुहानू कोई सक्सेस पानी है तो हौसला ना छड्डो, ट्राई करी जाओ, एफर्ट करी जाओ, one day you will succeed. He was awarded Nobel Prize not for his contribution to World War, no, but he got Nobel Prize for literature, for his speeches and his writings. So which were the famous books of that man that we are going to discuss? Yes. He was given the Nobel Prize in 1953 for his contribution to the literature and the speeches he gave across Europe. Second World War, the book name. Most famous 6-volume history of World War II, because he was the PM of UK, Britain during World War II. Like history of English-speaking people, 4-volume of Britain and English-speaking people across the world. Next is My Early Life. He wrote about his own life, autobiography about his early life and career, how he grew, what struggle he did, and so on. Then his Life and Times, Marlborough, a 4-volume biography of Duke of Marlborough. So these are the books on which he was given the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1953. Now we will move to the next personality. Alfred Nobel, Swedish, discovered dynamite, got lot of wealth, and then that fortune he established a Nobel Prize through his will. So Nobel Prizes were started in the field of physics, chemistry, physiology, or medicine, literature, and peace. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The 6th Nobel Prize was later on started in 1968 and executed in 1969, known as Nobel Memorial Prize in Economics, and so on. So these were the contribution of Alfred Nobel. So key yaad rakhna hai, his name, country, discovered, and Nobel Prizes are given which name, which areas, and first Nobel Prize started in 1901. And I told you earlier there were 5 Nobel Prizes, but later on the 6th Nobel Prize was added by the Sweden Central Bank, known as Nobel Memorial Prize in Economics in 1968, but executed in 1969. So these are the important points. Now we will move to the next personality. And what is important in any personality for exam, for GK exam? Louis Braille. He was blind, he was French, he became blind at a young age, so he is a teacher of blind, and he developed a Braille language, a dot, touch-based, which is the language used by blind or visually impaired people. And he revolutionized the education and communication for the visually impaired people around the worldwide. A great contribution for those who cannot see and read and get education through this. Now we will but French name, line, language name, on his name. These are the important points. Next is Norman Borlaug, Ernest Norman Borlaug, American agronomist, wheat scientist, very important, father of green revolution in the world. And India, the green revolution started in 1960s, or you can say in 1966 to 1969. His contribution, high yielding wheat varieties so that productivity can be increased. He was the man who was able to commercialize the wheat crop so that wheat productivity, its yield, its production can be manifold by using new varieties. And earlier the wheat was used to take 6, 8, 9 months to grow, but new varieties take only 5 months, 4 months, 6 months to grow. And that has solved the problem of food in the world. But few people do say that the modern human being or the human being the last few decades have started eating more wheat, and that is not very good for the health as suggested by few researchers. But he got the Nobel Prize in the peace because there's no Nobel Prize in the agriculture research, but he was able to solve the problem of food by developing new varieties of wheat which can be grown in less time with more productivity. So that is the reason that Nobel Prize was given in peace in 1970. That was able to solve the problem of hunger, particularly among developing countries. So in India, the Green Revolution is a great achievement of post-independence India, particularly in the North India, in the plains of Punjab, Haryana, UP, Bihar, and so on. Vasco da Gama, Portuguese navigator, century 15th century. It's the time of contemporary time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Then he discovered the sea route from Europe to India in 1948. Very well route. This was the route that he came from Europe, and here we have Africa. So he came here, and ultimately he reached to a place which we call as Kalighat in Kerala. And that opened up, because coming of Europeans through sea route was a great achievement, because land route was stopped. The land route between the Europe and India, between the Europe and with the eastern world of Asia was stopped by occupation of Istanbul, which you call as Constantinople. Constantinople fell in 1453. In 1453, there was kingdom which occupied that place, and that stopped the land route. And plus the Europeans, the Britishers, the French, the Danish, the Dutch, the Italians, they were very good in navy, in naval power. So they were looking for some alternative route through sea which could be safer, better, and cheap. So that was the reason that Vasco da Gama discovered sea route to India, and that was discovered in 1492, and it opened the direct trade between Europe and India, making a major milestone in the world of exploration and trade. And Indian spices, particularly black pepper and other, were very much in demand in European market. So more explained, we will discuss in history, which is part of GK. Now we are on the next, Rudolf Diesel. Nationality German, mechanical engineer. He discovered the internal combustion engine, received patent for diesel engine in 1892. And that means that he developed an efficient and more powerful engine, which was a landmark not only for transportation, even for machinery in the factories. So that is a Rudolf Diesel, and the name Diesel have come from his name only.